one more thing I want to do before I push this in, because now you remember the existing outlet box was flush with the wall. This one sticks out because of these tabs, right? So if I push this in here, see these tabs right here? If I push that, that's going to set on top of this box. That's going to bulge this out another 1/16 or so. And so the thought process is, if I screw this right on the box, and if I put this on, this cover might not fit nice and tight to the sheetrock wall. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, if you leave these little tabs on. And I don't want this cover to stick out of off the wall. So what to do there? These tabs, we're gonna break these tabs off. If you look at the tabs, there's a definite little score mark right now. You may think, have you ever wondered what that score mark is for? Well, we're going to take some dikes here, or our cutters. We're just going to put a little bit more of a score in there. And sometimes you can get these off if you press hard enough, but you know, you just score it like that. Then you take this just above the score, grab it and twist it. Comes right off. Okay, we're going to do that because then this area here slips into this little notch. Okay, it's supposed to anyways. This area here is a little bit fatter than a regular plug, so I guess I should check that, because we may not have to pull those tabs off. Okay, if I look at that, that's 3/4, and I measure that, and there's 7/8 of an inch there. So I know this little area here is going to fit right into that little groove, and that's going to push this plug up to the wall that much tighter. Do you see that? Okay, let's just go ahead and get these off of here. Yeah, I used to be able to cut those off, but you know, I'm not as strong as I used to be. You score it, it just helps a little bit. If you don't score that, sometimes the tip of that starts bending. All right? You take that and bend that back and forth. There you go. Okay. Now, I think we're ready to put it back in the wall. You're getting your money's worth with this video, let me tell you. I hope you're learning some stuff. You should be learning quite a few things that you can utilize on your next project. Okay, now we've got to push this in. So usually what I do is I'll spaghetti this. So these two wires here are going up, and then I'll make this section go down and this section go up. You know, like that. I'll reposition this wire so the white wire is going up and then back down, kind of like that. You see? Something like that. And then the ground wire, I'm gonna have that kind of go down in the box and then back up. Okay, like that. See? Now I can push that into the wall. That's why I needed those wire nuts back there all the way. Okay, we're just gonna hang on to it, kind of wedge it back in there. I don't want to put these screws right in the holes yet. I'm gonna put it off to the side just a little, just to make sure that I've got everything pushed back far enough and that this screw's not in my way. You know what I mean? Just want to make sure I got all the wires pushed back as far as possible, because if those wires are hitting something, I don't want to know that when I get ready to put these screws in, do I? Because you may think, oh, I'll just put the screw in and I'll just ram that right on in. I'll take an electric drill, and that's the last thing you want to do, let me tell you. Because if you can't get this in all the way, what's going to happen is you're going to take that screw and you're going to strip it right out of the plastic threads. Okay? And that's the last thing you want to do. And so at this point, before I screw it in, I want to look at this and see if it needs to be tilted. And it looks like it does. So I'm going to take that, kind of bend it a little bit. I'm redirecting the wires inside. Okay? Because once I get this up against the wall, I'm not going to be able to do that, am I? Okay. I got those in there. That's why I do this by hand. Man, I'm right up against the wall. I wish I had more room. This is just getting to me now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up a little bit more. That's looking good. Okay, now I haven't tightened this up all the way just yet. I got it in the groove. And now, before I tighten it all the way, you see there's a little bit of a slop in here. Because where the screw is, that hole is open to a little bit. Because if this box was slightly off, let's say, you could straighten up this by pushing the top over to the left, the bottom over to the right, or something like that. But I don't really need to do that because that is going to be crooked on this particular box. This box looks pretty straight, so I'm gonna have just a little reveal on both sides of that notch. You know, I'm gonna screw that in. Just kind of hold that. Okay, make that snug. Do the same thing down here. Just gonna kind of hold on to the plug. Make sure it stays right there. I got just a slight gap on both sides, and that looks nice and straight. Now, if you want, you could even take your tape measure over here. Let's see what it is. It's a short 3 inches, and I got 3 inches exactly at the bottom. So you know what? I can move the bottom over, or maybe I can move the top. Move the top over just a little bit to the right. Okay. That's assuming that wall is perfectly plumb. If this wall was not plumb, if you measured off of there, then your box is not going to be straight. But because it's so close, I can do it that way. Okay, I got 3 inches there and 3 inches there. Another way you can check it. Looks like the box, this is coming out nice and straight and everything. You know, I think we can put that cover plate back on right now if we want. What do you think? Put that cover back on like that, but before I do that, remember it was sticking to the wall? I'm just going to clean that back side off here. Sometimes you got to kind of check that because you get little bits of paint and sheetrock and caulking on there, and then your cover may not fit tight. And if the wall has been painted again, you might see a different color paint on the side. You can flake that off. Now is a good time to flake that off too. Okay. That's looking nice. I think that's going to work. So I'm going to put those screws back in. And remember, I had these little edges here. I was concerned that that wasn't going to cover, but it's covering just barely, but it covers. Now, if that didn't cover, I could take this. I still got a 1/16 right there and right there. I could have shoved this plug over a 1/16 of an inch if I needed to. Then I'd have enough room. You know what I mean? And if anything was showing, I'd rather have the left-hand side showing than the right-hand. But I don't have that problem, so I'm just going to put that back on just the way it is. Just giving you some tips to help you with your project, just in case you need to move this over. And if you had to move it over any further, you could undo these 2 screws for this cut-in box, and you could grab the box and push it over just a hair that way, and then tighten those back up. You know what I mean? So there's another option for you. Locked and loaded.